Hello, welcome all. Welcome to the whole family here, the ones here together in the Zoom live, and to all that will be possibly watching the recording. So welcome to Connie and Barbara and Betty and Sandy, Trisha and Joan, Sharon and Janice, Heidi, Marlies, Tammy, Carol, Susan. Oh, welcome. Been a big family. Well, we're all one big family. Okay, this is being recorded, as you know, and the recording, oh wait, who's coming? Someone's coming in. I couldn't see so well. This recording, I can upload it. Oh, Nikki, there's Nikki. Okay, good evening, Nikki. We were just starting. I just wanted to explain about the recording. As I think you all know that Facebook has restricted what I can do and what I can't do on Facebook. So our page, Zoom to Miracles, I can't do anything anymore on that page. I can put a little like, that's all. I can't write anything or post anything. And that's with every group, even the group that I administer. I can't do anything, only put little likes. So this recording, I have a YouTube page. I upload it to my YouTube page as a private video. And when it's finished, I will place it in Messenger, in our Messenger group, so that, and I'll put it in both Messenger groups. That we have a group for the Monday family, and I have a group for the Happy Learners, because the women we just greeted, they like to watch the Monday movie, so I'll have to put it in both groups. That's where you'll be able to find the recording if you want to hear anything at all that we speak about today. So welcome all here again. Some more little hearts for all of us. Yeah, so glad that we're together like this. Let's always start with our holy instant, just sharing a silence together, okay? This holy instant we give to you, Holy Spirit. Be you in charge, for we will follow you. Certain your direction gives us peace. Thank you. So with our powerful thoughts, we enter into a holy instant. Outside of time and space, it's timeless. It's the reflection of the truth that we can always enter into at any moment. It's calm here, and soft and gentle. There's only innocence and unity, oneness. And the beautiful silence that contains the memory of God's love. The silence contains the memory of our true identity. So let us share a silent moment together and remember what we truly are. And then very gently and softly, we open our eyes and we return into our beautiful living room, our beautiful digital living room, under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. And the Course is always requesting, motivating us to practice these quiet moments. You may give it a different name, the quiet center, above the battleground. Just I will step back and let him lead the way. Maybe just practicing the lessons when Jesus says, close your eyes for 5 minutes. However you do it, he's telling us that in these moments of silence, that's where we will see that everything has already been taken care of. We have no problems. We are at home in God, and this moment is our safe haven. And in this moment, the Holy Spirit can correct anything that needs to be corrected for us. And so he's always asking us in many different ways to try and incorporate some quiet moments into your daily routine as much as we can. What are we willing to do? I like to do it in between things. I don't like to rush around. I mean, we all have busy bodies all day long. There's 1,000 things we have to do every day and keep breathing. Yeah. But in between everything, I'll always just stop and close my eyes. And just the more you do it, the quicker that you feel the connection, the presence is there. And then you just continue with your daily chores, but they're all just being taken care of in rest and peace and in joy. And then you don't listen anymore to that terrible teacher that wants to make trouble about everything. You just, it'll still just be hanging out there, but we don't listen to it anymore. Okay. Any comments or questions?
Right. Can someone else post the video on the Zoom to Miracles page for you?
Yes, you can. Once, well, I don't know if you can do it from the YouTube page. It's private, but if you have the link, you can try that. And also, I'll put it in Messenger, what I just said, and maybe that link also you could put on Zoom to Miracles. I don't know. Maybe that would work. I just know I'm not allowed to do that anymore until August 31st at 9 p.m. in the evening. That's the message I got. So I have a punishment of 3 months for unusual activity while I was doing something that I've been doing for years. But as what I have understood that other people have told me, that Facebook is always refining their algorithms. And so that rhythm, it sees something and it thinks, aha, this is bad, this is unusual, we're going to take action now. And that's what happens. It's never anything personal. Facebook has nothing to do with people anymore. It's all it's all digital. So, okay. Okay. Well, you could try that, Marina, and see if it works. Yeah. I can open the page and see if it does appear at a certain time. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for suggesting that. Okay. So we'll be continuing on today in a few moments then, in our pamphlet, the psychotherapy. And I was reading that, a little bit of it yesterday. There's many references to guilt, all about guilty things. It's the definition of healing, but first he talks a lot about what's not healing. And so I thought I'd like to start off with one tiny little paragraph that we have shared many times together about guilt. And it's in the textbook on page 63, if you want to read along. It's from chapter 4, section 4, with the title, This Need Not Be. You know it. We've shared that several times together. This need not be. And on page 63 in paragraph 5, he says, when you feel guilty, he knows we're going to feel it. When you feel guilty, remember that the ego has indeed violated the laws of God, but you, in italics, you have not. Okay. So the dream figure can experience with guilt, but he's saying, listen, it's the ego. The ego is the cause. The ego is the source of the thought and feeling of guilt. It's being projected on you. So the ego has violated God's laws, but you, in italics, the real you, the spirit you are, the dreamer of the dream, you don't experience any guilt. It's just not there. Very powerful sentence, huh? He doesn't want us to take it personally. It's the ego's guilt. Yes, Bianca, what would you want to add on?
It's also our blind spot. People around me see the blind spot, but when the people recognize that and give it to me, I don't see it because I have my hoe noem je overtuiging?
Conviction, belief.
Yeah, my belief is that I see it different, but the difference is that I don't want to see what's the blind spot, what people around me are telling me, and when and because it's also that it is that we didn't know it, and when we see that, then we can look at something what we didn't know.
Yeah.
But before you before you there yeah.
Okay, well, he's going to say a few more interesting things.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's just read on a little bit because, okay, he's telling us it's the ego that is guilty, not us. And then he says, so leave the sins, so-called sins of guilt, leave these sins of the ego to me. That's what he's saying. If you do experience any guilt, give it to me, because that is what the atonement is for. When the atonement knows this has never happened, so leave it all to him. And then he says as a warning, he says, but until you change your minds about those whom your ego has hurt, the atonement cannot release you. Now he's telling us this not to make us feel bad. He's telling us this because this is what you can be aware of now. Be very vigilant that if you are feeling something, all you need to do actually is choose again and change your mind. Changing the mind is changing teachers and not listening to the interpretation of the ego when everything's wrong, but only to listen to the interpretation of Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Because he says then, so while you are still feeling guilty, your ego is in command. And then such a powerful sentence, because only the ego can experience guilt. Only the ego can experience guilt, not Amira. Certainly not the Son of God, knows nothing about guilt. Huh? So what I'm feeling is the projection because the ego has violated God's laws. And the ego is experiencing guilt and wants to get rid of its guilt and projects it out onto Myra. But I can now choose again and give these sins to Jesus for the atonement, for forgiveness. So I love this little paragraph. He's really telling us so many helpful things here. You will experience certain things, but it's not coming from you. The source is always the mind. The body is not the source of what you think it is. The body does remain neutral, but the thoughts that are coming into the body are never neutral. We have no neutral thoughts. One of those first lessons again. We have no neutral thoughts. But all the forms in the dream are, in first place, neutral. Until we have a thought about it. So which teacher do we choose determines how we will think about it. Yeah. And she's telling us it's going to happen. We're not finished yet. So maybe over 5 minutes, we're going to start feeling guilty about something. But now we know what to do. We always know what to do, to choose again and give it to Jesus for forgiveness. Okay, I just wanted to talk about that because we'll be reading a lot about that today. Any comments further now about this little paragraph? I love to refer to that every now and then. It's just such a great little thing. Okay, let me share the screen then. Where is that? There it is. And sound and everything and share. Okay, guys, so here's where we are now. the definition of healing. Yeah. In the book, it's on page 13 in the psychotherapy pamphlet. Okay. The definition of healing. Okay. Let's see. I look at the pictures as I see them here. Kath, would you like to read this evening? Or would you like to just sit back?
No, I'll read. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
The process of psychotherapy then can be defined simply as forgiveness, for no healing can be anything else. The unforgiving are sick, believing they are unforgiven. The hanging on to guilt, its hugging close and sheltering, its loving protection and alert defense. All this is but the grim refusal to forgive. God may not enter here. The sick repeat over and over while they mourn their loss and yet rejoice in it. Healing occurs as a patient begins to hear the dirge he sings. Healing occurs as the patient begins to hear the dirge he sings and question its validity. Until he hears it, he cannot understand that it is he who sings it to himself. To hear it is the first step in recovery. To question it must then become his choice.
Thank you, Kath, for reading that for us. Yes. Let's reread this for ourselves and see if anything springs out or wants to be mentioned again or asked about, and then we can hear your comments if you have any at all, Kath. Yeah. Would you like to share anything about that or ask anything about that?
Like a brief on the whole of the Course of Miracles, isn't it? It's talking about forgiveness and it's kind of once we start to hear, the healing occurs as a patient begins to hear the dirge he sings. We say things, or that things become clear in your mind, the things you've been saying over and over, the story you've been telling, or the patterns of behavior you've been doing. So the hanging on to guilt, it's hugging close and sheltering, it's loving protection and alert defense. That's all ego, isn't it? Yeah. As we do hang on to guilt. I know I do. I felt guilty this morning. I just thought, because I just thought, I know better than that. I'm a Course in Miracles student. Hang on to, trusting God. But I had to make sure. So then I did something to just make sure that it didn't happen, what I was not wanting to happen. So, but Yeah, just sort of trust in God.
Okay. Yeah, we will always fall back in some way, but everything is a lesson that we can learn from. It's okay. We can look back and see it differently. Yeah. The Course is never saying that the students will never feel guilty again, or never be afraid again, or never experience any of those things again. Of course we will. Of course we will. On this level, we will experience that. But now we learn, oh, these are the triggers. Anything happening on this level is telling me if I am upset, I need to forgive something. And forgiveness, as he explains here, is a choice. Because as he says so beautifully here, the whole process of psychotherapy can be defined just as forgiveness. It's all about forgiveness. Whatever we think is going on here in our earthly existence and we're upset about it, it's for forgiveness. And the unforgiving are sick. And sickness does not always have to pertain to something physical. It can be mental or emotional, or it can be another way that we are believing in the separation. On the unforgiving are sick, the unforgiving are attacking, they're judging, they're being angry. Those are all forms of sickness, actually. People, human beings, we read the word sick and we always first think about the body. That's just automatic. We always do that. But when the Course is talking about sickness, it's not only physical. Physical is included, but it's not only physical. And then he says, it's your choice. You can hang on to guilt as long as you want. But just know that when you hang on to guilt, you're actually saying, no, God, you're not allowed here. Sorry, bye-bye. You can't come in. I close the door. I'm going to stay in the separation here. And the sick repeat that over and over again. Yeah. And that's the result of not forgiving, that we remain then in separation. And then healing occurs as the patient begins to hear the dirge he sings. Those are beautiful poetic words that Jesus is saying to me. Listen to your own words. Listen to what comes out of your mouth. What stories are you telling? What are you talking about? It's the song that you're singing to yourself. Whatever you are communicating, you are first communicating to yourself. So just be aware of what you're singing, what you're talking about, what stories you're telling. And if they are upsetting stories, maybe you can start to question their validity. Is it true? Do I know for sure it's true? How would I feel if it's not true? To quote Byron Katie, yeah. So until he hears it, he won't understand. I'm singing to myself. If I'm attacking myself. If I'm judging myself. If I'm angry at myself. There's nobody else. And the self is always at the level of the mind. The choosing mind that has chosen for the ego. And it's always the ego, as we read in that little paragraph from This Need Not Be, it's always the ego that experiences guilt or separation or anger or whatever you want to call it, yeah. So listen, be vigilant, and that's the first step to recover. Yeah, it's a lovely paragraph. Any other questions or comments on this paragraph? Okay, then we'll go on to paragraph 2. The next picture is Taya. Good morning, Taya. Would you like to read for us?
Yes, please.
Mm.
There is a tendency, and it's very strong, to hear this song of death only an instant and then dismiss it uncorrected. These fleeting awareness represent the many opportunities given us literally to change our tune. The sound of healing can be heard instead. But first, the willingness to question the truth of the song of condemnation must arise. The strange distortions woven inextricably into the self-concept itself, but a pseudo-creation, make this ugly sound seem truly beautiful. The rhythm of the universe, the herald angel's song, all these and more are heard instead of loud discordant shrieks.
Okay. Thank you, Taya. Let's reread this for ourselves and then see if anything springs out for you that you would like to talk about.
It's so beautiful said. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it's really so poetic. Yeah. But about the content. Yeah, so that's what we normally do as an ego. There is some kind of upset, but then we immediately
Dismiss it.
dismiss it. Yeah, and looking for distraction.
Yeah.
To not feel, to really not feel the unwanted feeling, the not pleasant feelings. Yeah. And so many opportunities are given us again and again and again and again and again. Yeah. Yeah. The willingness, again, the willingness
Yeah.
to question, is it true?
Yeah.
This condemnation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jesus is not only telling us that that we are already forgiven, but he's also warning us for how this ego works. And yeah, again and again in the book and also here. Yeah. This pseudo creation. Yeah.
That's what we are.
Yeah. Am I willing to question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Loud discordant shrieks. Yeah. Yeah. Dante's Inferno.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, to really this Dante's Inferno. Yeah, I mention it because it's when we really look very deep, it's really this hell we are believing in, you know, and that's crazy. And we don't want to look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there is so much love in these words, in the book. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, why should I not choose what Jesus tells me? It's really insane. Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I just wanted to mention where he says here the song of death. He's referring to the dirge, the song we're singing to ourselves. And death is again like an umbrella term. So the death is also all forms of sickness and attack and judgment and being mad and being jealous and everything. Anything that has to do with separation is part of death. And he's saying that you will realize them, you'll hear them, but you'll just think of them as nothing and dismiss them again. Okay. I just wanted to add that on, that the word death, he's not just talking about a physical death. He's talking about all forms of separation. Yeah. Yes, Bianca, come in. Yeah.
Yes, I recognize that it's the pain that you feel when you resist the pain. Then it's making the mind go mad. But when you study to feel it, then in the feeling you're gonna understand, because you can not judge your own feeling, and yeah, that is so important to feel what you are saying, and yeah, that's what I recognize, and then I don't walk away from my own hurt.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a very nice thing to
Yeah.
see. But yeah, I don't know what to
Yeah,
say.
but you explained that well. You were talking more about what he's saying here. We don't want to just dismiss everything, and that happens a lot. So he's saying, listen, be aware of that. Be aware in your own thoughts, in your head, what's going on, and what are you feeling. And when something of separation is coming up, a judgment, an attack thought or something, don't just dismiss it. Don't just push it away, because that's the ego's interpretation. We don't need to work with that.
Yeah,
But he's saying, yeah,
yeah, the mechanism to protect yourself.
yeah,
When you go feel what things that you think, when you go feel what it's doing with you, with the body, then you recognize from, but that is just because I think that over me, and that is also that you can do that yourself. You have to have someone who can recognize that when you have not the ability to recognize it from yourself, and yeah, by feeling you recognize everything, and you recognize it also by the person around you, that you also can see when our own self lives in everyone. And if I judge yourself, then it has to be myself, because there is only one self.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's very good. That's why he tells us many times, realize you can only attack yourself. You can only be mad at yourself. You can only be disgusted with yourself, because there's nobody else. And even this self is as he says here, a pseudo creation. It's not our true identity. So we go back to the mind, and that's where we can accept what's going on, and the acceptance will lead to forgiveness. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Any other comments on paragraph 2? Okay. Marina, would you like to read number 3 for us?
Thank you, Mara. The ear translates, it does not hear. The eye reproduces, it does not see. Their task is to make agreeable whatever is called on, however disagreeable it may be. They answer the decisions of the mind, reproducing its desires and translating them into acceptable and pleasant forms. Sometimes the thought behind the form breaks through, but only very briefly, and the mind grows fearful and begins to doubt its sanity. Yet it will not permit its slaves to change the forms they look upon, the sounds they hear. These are its remedies, its safeguards from insanity.
Thank you, Marina. We will reread this for ourselves, and then we can hear if you have any comments or questions. Yeah.
I think he's talking about projection here, and not seeing it as a thought being the very reason of being so absorbed in the form, being unable to see that it's coming from thoughts, and seeing that as a dangerous thing if you start to question the form. That you're crazy if you think this isn't real.
No. Yeah.
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 That's what it's saying to me.
Yes. To me also, he's talking about that we become aware how the ego has been directing us because the body has mostly listening to the mind of the ego. So the ear is just translating what the ego is telling us, and our eyes are just seeing what the ego wants us to see. Doesn't matter if it's nice or it's not nice. The ego just makes everything nice because the ego wants to be the boss of everything, because our senses are just answering the decisions of the mind, answering the decisions of the mind. It's so amazing to realize that, to accept that this is what the Course is teaching us. We are not making decisions. The mind is making the decisions. What we see, what we hear, how we feel, what we do, it's really mind-blowing. Yeah. And he makes everything very acceptable and pleasant. Oh yes, that's Mr. Ego knows how to make it all very nice, and it's not important. And then comes that little bit, maybe a thought, maybe some light or something will break through, only very briefly. But the ego mind goes fearful and says, no, we're not going there. We're staying in our own sanity, even though it's insanity. And this is the remedies of the ego, he says. This is how the ego wants to safeguard its own insanity, to keep us mindless, keep convincing us that, oh, everything you see and hear and do, that's fine, it's wonderful. Yeah. That's Mr. Ego. Yeah. But that's really a very deep principle of the Course in Miracles, to realize definitely that the mind is deciding everything, and we are not the person, the body is not the decision maker. The mind is the decision maker. Yes, Bianca.
Yeah, and this is why we can't say to the other what the other has to do, because it's reveals on this level.
Yeah.
When we think, you have to do this, and the other people go follow that, they don't free themselves. That's coming true.
I can never know what the lessons are from my brothers and sisters.
Yes.
I can only stay with my own lesson and try to be helpful by believing in the truth and holding on to the truth for whatever seems to be happening. But I can't decide anything for anyone else because I don't know what their lessons are.
We can make the choice for the other.
No.
Oh, I see that so clear now.
No. Yeah, that's quite a big lesson, definitely. Okay. Any other comments on number 3? Well, then let's go on to number 4. Let's see what else. Nikki, would you like to read?
Thank you, Myra.
Yeah.
These testimonies which the senses bring have but one purpose: to justify attack and thus keep unforgiveness unrecognized for what it is.
Yeah.
Seen undisguised, it is intolerable. Without protection, it could not endure. Here is all sickness cherished, but without the recognition that this is so. For when an unforgiveness is not recognized, the form it takes seems to be something else. And now it is the something else that seems to terrify. But it is not the something else that can be healed. It is not sick and needs no remedy. To concentrate your healing efforts here is but futility. Who can cure what cannot be sick and make it well?
Ooh, thank you, Nikki, for reading that. Okay, let's reread this for ourselves, and then we can hear if you have any comments or questions about this.
An unforgiveness, unrecognized.
Yeah.
The form it takes seems to be something else. I'm guessing that something else is some form of sickness. Now it is that sickness that seems to terrify. But it's not the sickness that can be healed. And to concentrate your healing efforts here is but futility and a waste of time. It is to overlook the mind and concentrate on the body. That's how I understand this. So if I have a sickness, it is an unforgiveness unrecognized. I think I need to ring Kate.
No, but this doesn't mean that we don't take care of our bodies. That's not what he's saying here. He's saying whatever we are experiencing, it needs to be forgiven at the level of the mind. As you so correctly said, Jesus is telling us here how the ego wants to, not get in touch with the mind. Keep it on the earthly level. Keep it on the level of form and cherish everything here. And don't worry about forgiveness or so. But he's telling us every form of sickness and pain, discomfort, tooth pain, a headache, whatever it is, it's a form of unforgiveness. No guilt, no blame, no shame. That's the ego projecting everything on us. So we just take back the projection and we say, okay, Holy Spirit, I have a gift for you. Here's my headache. I'm believing in a headache. I'm believing in tooth pain. I'm believing in cancer. I'm believing, okay, and it needs to be forgiven at the level of the mind. But this never means that we don't take care of our bodies. These are our vehicles. They can now be used for communication. They can now be used for instruments, for the truth. So always take care of the body. What he's teaching us very slowly but surely is no longer identify with it. The body doesn't disappear. It doesn't go away. Your personality doesn't go away or anything. You still know how to cook and how to shop and how to drive a car and ride a bicycle, and you know how to do everything. But it's not who you are. So whatever happens, we just forgive it. The Course is never asking us to sacrifice anything here, but just look at what is the value I'm giving it? What is the purpose? What is it for? If I think this is a substitute for God's love and joy, well, then I'm making a wrong conclusion with the ego. Nothing can substitute for God's love and joy. But the ego wants to convince us of that and keep it all unforgiven. And as long as it stays unforgiven, we stay in ego land. Yeah. But of course, if you want to call Kate, please call Kate and do so.
Well, I'm thinking, having recently developed an illness, and then discovering that it's really an unrecognized unforgiveness, I'm obviously looking in the wrong place. So, yes, I don't think one can proceed without the assistance of the Holy Spirit. So I'm writing out a request here to the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
I would have my unforgiveness revealed to me so that I may recognize it and forgive it.
Yeah. 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 That's it. Yeah. And let us just recall the sentence we just read about 10 minutes ago. The mind is making all the decisions. The mind has experienced sickness and the mind is projecting that out. And these are all these little sentences where we can really learn it's not personal. There's not a Myra that has to be guilty now because her body is becoming sick. No, 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 no. No guilt. No. That's the ego's way of working, to keep us sick, to keep us unforgiven, thinking that Myra is the one responsible for all of that. And we're reading here, the mind is making all the decisions. And that can be a big turnaround for all of us when we can accept that. It's not Myra deciding to be sick, it's the mind that has decided to be sick. And I take care of the body here, but I'm learning slowly but surely this is not who I am. That makes a whole difference. Yeah. Yes, Bianca, what did you want to say?
I have to think about the film The Matrix. Do you want a blue pill or a red pill?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Do you want to know the truth? Or do you want to stay asleep and just go on with what you call life here? Yeah. 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 And dear Nikki.
And when you take the bitter pill, you get the sweetness.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you don't want to see the bitterness,
Yeah.
you also get no sweetness.
Huh.
It's yeah.
Yeah. The Matrix has many, many good symbols that really come into the course, definitely. I was just going to say, but dear Nikki, it's a process we're in, and this is what we're learning. We're unlearning everything that the ego has been trying to convince us for decades and decades. And that's not always an easy process. And everyone will go at the moment what they can do. And just always, like you said, we cannot do this alone. We need our inner guide. We need the Holy Spirit or Jesus. We cannot do this as peoples. No. 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 Anything else, Nikki, about this?
Oh, I'm relating it to what I'm being shown.
Okay.
Because I had chest pain twice, and the first time it was upon awakening. So it wasn't clear to me what went before. But the second time, it was definitely following anger and hatred. That was pretty clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just as I'm writing, I'm getting bits of the picture coming through of
Okay.
what actually
Okay.
it was about.
Very good. Very good. Let all those bits come through.
It's a complicated business. Oh, the ego is complicated, of course. There's after the with it's like a kind of ugly mixture of anger, hatred, guilt. Yuck. All in an instant.
They were all very yucky, definitely.
Mm.
And now the Course is teaching us that our bodies and our personalities have just been the vessels for the ego's yuck. We have been the targets for the ego's yuck. We have been the playground of the ego. And now we can choose differently and let the Holy Spirit use this body for something differently.
There are so many contenders,
There are, yeah, oh,
so many unforgivenesses. Which one is doing it?
yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes that can be a little overwhelming. What I do at moments like that is I just say, listen, Holy Spirit, I have this wheelbarrow here. I don't know what I'm putting everything into the wheelbarrow. I can't make any sense of any of this. And I want to give the whole wheelbarrow to you, please. Let's look at this. Let's look at all of these thoughts, because actually, as he says, there's really only one problem. So I can say, I have a whole wheelbarrow of one problem. I am believing in separation. Please let us look at this now without judgment. Please heal all of these thoughts for me in my mind. Yeah. Yeah. Because those ego attacks, we call them sometimes ego attacks, it can be very confusing and very complex. And oh boy, yeah. But it's one problem.
So we've got the wheelbarrow of separation.
Yeah, a wheelbarrow of separation. I give it to the Holy Spirit. I say, I don't understand what's going on here, but it's all the one problem. As the workbook is teaching us, there's only really one problem. Everything here is a symbol of separation, no matter what it is, no matter what sickness of madness or attack or judgment or whatever it is. It's all a symbol of separation. So you can have a wheelbarrow of separation and hand it over.
And ask what? Ask
As we look at it together, just we look at it, because that's the light and that's the reflection of love that is looking through the Holy Spirit at what we are. We are bringing the darkness to the light. It's a wheelbarrow of darkness, actually. And we bring it to the light and we just look at it. We don't have to say the Holy Spirit, we don't have to teach the Holy Spirit anything at all. No way. Just bring the wheelbarrow and give it to him. We look together for one moment and the Holy Spirit does the rest.
Thank you, Myra. I like the wheelbarrow of darkness.
Wheelbarrow of darkness, yeah. So we try to keep forgiveness simple. Okay, I've made a mistake. I'm bringing the darkness to the light, and I hand it over. That's it. Step 1 is I realize I made a mistake. Step 2 is I bring the darkness to the light and look at it. Step 3, the Holy Spirit does that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, a whole wheelbarrow. Yes, Bianca, do you have a wheelbarrow too?
Yeah, the proof that we are light is when we are not light, we couldn't see anything. Then nothing lights up. Then it's all dark, and because you see things and we don't understand what we see, but it's all happening because of God. He gives us the light in our whole beingness. That if you not recognize the light, you don't see anything. It isn't there. And when you are in light, it has no attention. You live it. You go on.
Yeah. We can be guided by the reflection of the light through the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else about number 4? Bianca, I don't know. Do you want to read in English? Yes or no?
Yes, I want to try.
You want to try? Okay, number 5, please. Yeah.
Sickness takes many forms, and so does unforgiveness. The form of one but reproduce the forms of the other, for they are the same illusions. So closely is one translated into the other, that a careful study of the from a sickness take will point quite clearly to the form of the unforgiveness that is represent.
Yeah.
Yet seeing this will not affect a cure that is achieved by only one recognition
Oh.
that only forgiveness heals an unforgiveness, and unforgiveness, well, that only forgiveness heals on unforgiveness, and only an unforgiveness can possibly give rise to the sickness and any kind.
Yes. Good, good. Thank you. Okay. Let's reread this silently and then see if you would like to make any comments at all. How are we doing the time? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. What I recognize is from in my own situation that oh, I have sometimes I don't find the English words.
Okay, well, say a little bit in Dutch, but not too much at one time so that I can translate it.
Yes. Ja, wat ik inzie is dat ik vaak het herkende, maar eigenlijk een gewenst antwoord ging vormen naar de ander, zeg maar niet het voor mezelf eigenlijk echt gezien had, zeg maar. En dat het echt vergeven juist in ja, innerlijk plaatsvindt en niet door het opnieuw met de mind, zeg maar, te gaan benoemen.
Okay,
Ja.
well, she's talking about actually what he's saying here, because I think that's one of the most important points that we become aware of the forms, we become aware of our thoughts and our feelings,
Ja.
but becoming aware, just seeing it, just being aware of it is not enough.
Nee.
It's not enough. He's saying true healing, true curing can only be achieved by forgiveness. And that's what this course is all about, bringing everything to the light to be forgiven. And so we realize now more and more in our daily lives that we do, oh, I see what's going on, I understand it, this and that, but we dismiss it then again. We haven't forgiven it yet. And that's what Jesus is trying to make very clear here. I think this is the most important point here. That just realizing something, just talking about something, that's not that's not a cure, that's not healing. What the Course is telling us is that healing can only take place where the source is. And the true cause and the source is always at the level of the mind.
Ja, en the sickness is gone. there is no sickness more. When you forgive, there is no sickness.
There's
And
no
when you can
sickness.
say, oh, but also this is for my sickness. No, then you don't have forgive. If you see the forgiveness, if you see the sickness, then there's no forgiving. That the sickness is gone when you
And
forgive.
let's clear that up just a little tiny
Yeah.
bit, just make it a little more distinct, please, because when it's forgiven at the level of the mind, the sickness is forgiven at the level of the mind. But Jesus is very clear to us. The symptoms in the body, they will stay. They will stay. The body will still feel sick because this course is never about healing bodies. It's healing the cause of the thought of sickness. It's healing the thoughts of separation. So when the thought of sickness is healed at the level of the mind, then the mind is okay. But that doesn't mean that the body is never going to experience a symptom anymore. And we've seen that with beautiful spiritual world leaders all over the world, all the Sai Babas and the Maharishis and the Ken Wapniks and Ramana Maharshi and all that have put their bodies aside with a form of cancer or something, some other disease, and the bodies were sick. Bodies were sick. But they knew that they weren't their bodies. It was okay. They were all totally, perfectly one with their true identity. But the symptoms in the body, okay, they were just there. So we can use their examples also to explain what Jesus is saying here. When the mind has been, when the sickness, let me say it right, the thought of sickness is forgiven at the level of mind, but that does not result always that the body will be healed.
Yeah, and the sickness isn't a problem anymore. It doesn't beperkt je niet meer, zeg maar.
We're not limited anymore because the sickness can also be in the background. It depends what type of sickness the body is dealing with. It can be in the background and we will just take care of the body, but it will not be a concern. We don't have to worry about the body anymore because the body will remain to function as long as it can, and then it will just be laid aside. Yeah. Yeah. And so then again here, that sickness will take many forms. Again, I repeat that once again. That could be any type of emotional problem or mental problem, any type of attack or a war or whatever it is. It doesn't have to always be the sickness of the body. Sickness takes many, many forms. He talked about the song of death. Death is a form of sickness because if we believe we can die, we're believing in the separation. Yeah. So sickness can take many, many forms. And then we learn not to recognize them. And he's saying once again, just recognizing this is not enough. The Course is saying it needs to be forgiven only at the level where the cause is, where the source is, and that is always the mind. Always, always the mind. Any comments or questions from anyone else? Yeah. If it's okay with you, I think we'll just round off here now. We'll continue those last few ones. It's good to spend enough time with each of these paragraphs and not to rush through them. So I think we'll go back to our screen. Yeah. And yeah, I hope everyone got something out of these paragraphs. He's very clear now, teaching us of all these, how the ego is really taking us for a ride and keeping us mindless in so many ways. And he's asking us to be aware of that, to become aware of it, how we're being tricked constantly. And always to be kind for ourselves, no guilt, no shame, no blame. We were brought up by the teacher of terror. We were brought up by the teacher of fear. It's been a terrible upbringing. And so he says, well, I'm going to try very slowly that we will unlearn parts of this upbringing, that you can forgive it. Everything is for forgiveness. It's all for forgiveness. Because forgiveness, once again, heals that which has never taken place. A dream is a dream is a dream. And every time that we are tempted to make the dream real, and that can happen every day, many times a day, it can happen at any time. We are tempted to fall into an ego trap and make it real. Okay, I made the separation real. But then I realize that. But then I can take the step back. And do I have the willingness to bring that piece of darkness that I just bumped into? Do I have the willingness to bring the darkness to the light? And ask to look at it together and that it be healed in my mind. That's what this course is all about. It's never about discovering a negative thought and replacing the negative thought with a positive thought. No, that's not forgiveness. It's not about taking even one beautiful sentence from the course and saying it like a mantra, like a robot all day long and thinking that that's going to be forgiven now. No, that's not forgiveness either, because forgiveness is a collaboration between the sleeping Son of God and the Holy Spirit. And this collaboration, working together with the Holy Spirit, looking together, that's forgiveness. Looking without judgment. Forgiveness does nothing. Forgiveness is quiet and still. It just looks and it waits and it judges not. This description of forgiveness, I carry it with me every day. It's so beautiful, all these elements, and whenever anything happens, I think, okay, these are the elements of forgiveness now. First, I need do nothing, because I don't want to fight with the ego. I don't want to change something that can't be changed. We just read about that today. Don't try to change something that can't be changed. Change it at the level of the mind. And then you will be able to look at it differently and experience it differently. Yeah. We don't want to fight the ego. Think of the story of the Man de la Mancha, little Don Quixote with his sword. And he thought he was fighting dragons, but they turned out to be windmills. So he was fighting illusions. It's a good example of how Jesus uses the example of a sword. You picked up your sword. What are you fighting against? You're trying to fight illusions. You're doing nothing. Put your sword down. Many times he says that. Please put your sword down. Step back. Bring it to me. We'll look at it together. The looking. Yeah. And this is not looking with the body's eyes. It's not looking in the earthly term that we think of looking. This is a spiritual looking. This is a power of the light and the reflection of God's love through the Holy Spirit that we can't even imagine how powerful that is. And that's what looks. And that's not really looking because there are no eyes. It's a vision. It's what Jesus calls the vision of Christ. The vision is looking then. And that's what forgiveness is. It has nothing to do with our earthly terms of eyes looking at things. No. And that's sometimes what makes this course a little difficult to understand, because it's very natural that we think of everything in our earthly way of thinking. And that's why we need the help to learn to think differently now. Okay. Yeah. Was today a little helpful, these little sections here? Beautifully written, beautiful sections. Very clear, I think.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Myra. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Okay.
Thank you, Myra.
You can okay, thank you all. Yay, let's have some hearts and everything. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you all for being here and joining. Yeah. This is healing together. That's something we'll be reading next week. You never heal alone. So we're not alone. We're always joined. Okay. Now, guys, today is God's day. Have a beautiful day. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
And the recording will turn up in Messenger sometime today. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you all. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye.